And so, does it start up a new stream or?
It should go right back to it. Hold on.
Because it's already got the replay posted.
Yeah, I know. Which is weird.
Okay, I think it's live again.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I don't think we are. Oh wait, we are online, but we're not. It's weird I didn't change the URL.
And we're back. Sorry, folks, we had an internet outage here, which we often do here in Florida.
Yeah.
So
and I don't know
okay.
the new link yet, but.
So we're starting to get a little bit of action here. You can see that first step. Walking along, singing a song. So I'm going to take this drawing here and copy it and throw it up here. That way I can see where I'm doing a drawing in between. How are we doing on your end, Stan?
Pretty good. I'm just telling John he has to swap the URL on Proko.
Yeah, sorry.
I just
it's
sent
okay.
Mike the updated one. So that's who I've been.
Oh, you sent it to Mike? Okay. No, that's fine. Yeah, he'll update it. Okay, I'll get you another question here, all right?
Sure.
All right, let's see. What's the biggest problem you've had to overcome in your art journey?
Internet problems.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not art related.
Technology.
It's never art related. It's all the other crap.
We literally have something wrong every time we sit down.
Yeah. The drawing and the painting and the learning, all that, that's all great. Smooth.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything else that gets in the way is the biggest problem.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's, we go through the same thing everyone does. There's self-confidence issues and, am I a fraud and just time and is there enough time in the day to get everything done that you want to get done? And, the imposter syndrome was a big one when I was younger. It's like I can't do this. It's not, just that kind of thing. But now it's just enough time in the day.
Yeah.
But we lost Nick again.
Lost. Is he is he gonna unplug the modem again?
Yeah, he went to unplug the modem.
What a jerk. How do you get such smooth and expressive lines when you're sketching?
How do I get smooth, expressive lines? Is that for you or for me?
That's for you, man. It's probably because you studied with Glenn Keane, huh?
Smooth, expressive lines. That's just a lot of mileage. Just doing it a lot.
Were your lines not smooth and expressive when you started?
It's funny. I don't know. It's just getting confident with your line is what it is.
Yeah.
And there it is. And so that just comes from lots of mileage, drawing a lot.
Yeah. You just gotta don't hesitate. Just go for it.
Yeah.
Put a stroke down. If it's in the wrong place, just redo it. Keep going. You'll get better at putting it in the right spot.
Yeah.
But if you want it to be smooth and expressive, you just go for it.
Yeah. Stay away from the undo button. I used to see guys, man, especially guys that have come up drawing digitally, and it's like that undo button's attached to them. They just can't. They can't not hit the undo button.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're used to not hitting the undo button because you just have so much experience with a pencil. So you erase, right? Like if you put a stroke down and you don't like it, you actually erase it, right? Instead of undoing it.
It's funny. I used to. I don't erase it. It's
you just don't erase it anymore?
Yeah, I just trying to draw around it nowadays. And the other thing that's gotten funny is is when I'm doing stuff traditionally now, I tend to try to find an undo button. That's too far. I wanted to see if I could stretch that leg, but I'm doing it too far. But I find myself every once in a while throwing a pencil line down and trying to find Control Z, because I do fall into it every once in a while, for sure.
Yeah.
I got
Where
a
are you at
question
with
from
this
the-
animation? How many frames you got now? 3?
This is the 4th frame.
Okay, you're working on the 4th. So, oh, cool.
Question from the YouTube comments. You guys
Okay.
want?
Sure.
How many traditional paper techniques have translate over to digital animation? Like, is there a big difference for you from the paper versus the digital? Or
No, that's one of the reasons I love TV Paint so much, is that it's combined with working on a Cintiq. It's very similar to working traditional. The only thing is I'm hitting arrows back and forth to flip, whereas on paper, I'm doing it. I'm literally flipping the paper. So, there we go. So you can see so if I put these on 8s, let me put these on 8s. You're going to see what I mean by 8s, I'm doing 8 frames for every drawing. Each drawing will be held for 8 frames. So now if I play this and loop it, you'll see the roughest version of a walk I can create. So that's the start of it. And now it's just a matter of getting the in-betweens in there to get a nice smooth animation. And because I just downloaded a new version of TV Paint and I'm still in the demo version, we tried to open it earlier and it wasn't working. So you're going to see the TV Paint logo on here. But that's the kind of the roughest version I can do. Now we're going to have a little head bobble in there and all kinds of stuff. But that's it. So now I want to go back in and just start breaking it down.
Nice.
There we go. Boom. Create a new layer.
What are the most important things to focus on as a beginner animator? and in general to learn more as well?
Um, to me, it's more about it's just consistency and thinking about those arcs. So many people miss arcs, and they get so caught up. Excuse me. And it's. Let me jump back from that answer. Hold on.
Maybe you could show the arcs in this drawing to specifically show like what you're doing to get that smooth.
Well, I see. That's what I wanted to jump back and say. You know, the mechanics will come, meaning arcs and slow ins and slow outs and all the technical terms that go with it. And one of the problems with young animators is they get caught up in worrying about all that stuff. Obviously, you do have to worry about it, but they get caught up in it to the detriment of the actual performance. And so the performance gets left behind because they're so caught up in understanding the mechanics, and it just becomes the animation just becomes dead. And so it's really remembering that performance, putting yourself into it, and going from there, and then letting the mechanics and everything kind of follow up or be secondary. I guess is the best way to say it.
So they're completely focused on making the motion smooth, but that smooth motion isn't the right acting, right? Like it's not the right emotion that is supposed to be portrayed.
Right. They're so concerned about making the action smooth, they forget why they're making it smooth.
Right. It's more about the body language that they're animating
and
rather than just smooth motion.
Yeah, it's really understanding that performance and getting that to ring through. And once you can get that, then it becomes and it took me years to start thinking that way, because I did really think about mechanics a lot. But then you start to realize the mechanics are just become secondary because the mechanics are there to support the performance. So when you get that performance in your head, then everything else will just kind of fall into place.
So how do you get better at getting that body language, the performance better? Like, is it trying to act it out yourself?
It's a learned skill. It's taking yourself, it's kind of separating yourself from reality, I guess, and putting yourself into that character, become that character. And I know it sounds corny and cliche because a lot of animators will say it. You know, you become the character, or you know, but you really do. You gotta feel what it is that you're trying to get across, and it's it's not until you can do that it starts to become real for you and secondary, and then all of a sudden those performances start becoming honest, and they start getting unique because it's a performance that only you would have done, because it's you felt it in a way that no one else would feel it.
Mm-hmm. So is this a scene for your snow bear animation, or are you just
I'm just drawing?
You're just drawing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You could have killed two birds with one stone. Get one that you actually need, and then just like like you could have worked on a scene for the.
I don't.
Or
have
you
I
don't
don't
want
have
people
one laid
to.
out yet.
You don't have what?
I don't have a scene laid out yet.
Oh, okay, got it. Wait, you don't have any? You have scenes laid out though, right? Or you just don't have one that hasn't already been animated?
Right. I don't exactly. Well, no, I don't have shots laid out yet. No, not one's specific, because we're still boarding. So we're still in the layout stage of the project.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'm on.
What's your favorite Pixar film? And are you familiar with Ghibli? Of course you are.
Am I familiar with what?
Studio.
Ghibli, yes.
Sorry,
I've
Ghibli.
been to
Studio Ghibli.
Ghibli.
Yeah, of course. I don't know why I say Ghibli. I say Ghibli like every time. Studio Ghibli. Are you familiar? Yeah, of course you are. But I guess the question is, what's your favorite Pixar film?
Geez. Probably the original Toy Story, just because of what it did and what it was, and how it kind of changed the industry. It was it was the gateway to hand-drawn animation kind of going away for a while, but it was just such an innovative film, hugely innovative, and I just remember seeing the dailies for it coming through, and having never seen anything like that, I can't remember what we were making. I think at the time we were making The Lion King, and
Wow.
and we were just blown away by this project. It was just incredible.
Was there like within the animation circle, like of people, the professionals that working there, when that movie came out, were there two groups where one was like, yeah, this is the future, that's it, and another group was like, no, this isn't going anywhere, it's just a one off?
There was, you know what? I think everyone was pretty unanimous in thinking that this is
Okay.
going to stick.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Now, I don't think anybody anticipated it completely
It's a dominant.
upending the industry. Yeah, and making hand-drawn animation a thing of the past, or at least on a huge scale.
Right.
But we never anticipated that, and even I remember having conversations about that, and even right up to, we were becoming dinosaurs right in front of our, and we still didn't see it happening. It's the studio. There's talk of the studio shutting down, talk of all these different things happening, and even then we were like, no, it's not going to happen, until it did.
No, why did it happen? Was it because it was cheaper for 3D to do 3D, or is it that the audience actually just preferred 3D animation?
It was that was the reason given, was that the audiences preferred the 3D animation, that we were getting bigger. It wasn't anymore. It wasn't cheaper. It actually, in some cases, it was more expensive because you were able to do more things with it. And
Right. So all the research that has to go in.
Still, the highest cost thing in a animated film is man hours.
Mm-hmm.
And so, or time, and so it still took the same number of man hours to create. So what am I doing here? I'm talking and losing my train of thought. There we go, putting a foot in the wrong place. And so it was just, they were saying, hey, it's, people are tired of 2D animation. They don't want to see it anymore. And so we were of the thinking that, or at least my theory is that we just didn't have anything good anymore. That to me was the issue. It was just, we just didn't have anything. I think we got kind of lazy. I think people did get tired of the same kind of template that we were using, which is the big Broadway musical, and because it had worked with so many films in the 90s, Disney didn't want to break out of that structure, and so they just kept making the same film over and over, and that's where I think it went stale. It just got stale.
But Disney didn't go away.
What's that?
Disney didn't go away. 2D animation kind of went away for a while.
Exactly.
So I mean, they could have changed up the template while sticking with 2D, but that it just didn't. I mean,
no,
do you think they needed to completely reinvent everything?
Every 3D film that came out was a blockbuster, and we were starting to hit flops on the 2D side of things, and
relative flops, right? They weren't making Lion King money anymore. I mean,
no.
Lion King kind of skewed everything, right?
Well, it did, but it absolutely did. But I mean, it wasn't just Lion King. I mean, Pixar came along and really skewed everything because they could not put out a bad movie, and they weren't, and they were, even though they had songs in their movies, they were absolutely not making musicals. That was their big thing. We're not making musicals. We're not doing what Disney does. We'll have songs in our movies, but they're not going to be musicals. And so Disney saw all this and thought, hey, maybe they've got the right formula now. Our formula is not right. So they switched it over.
Of course, then the irony is Frozen comes along.
Yeah.
And it's the highest Frozen 2, I think, is now the highest grossing animated film of all time.
Yeah, and I think it really
back to the musical formula.
Exactly. I think it really just comes down to, that was my original thought, and then it was just I think it's just having good content, obviously, and that's what it should be. And I think we just had a lot of bad content at the time. I know when the studio here in Florida shut down, we really didn't have anything after Brother Bear. We had one project that was kind of rolling, but there wasn't anything else in development. Nothing. And you should have, you know, several films in development as you're going along.
Okay. Are there still any big projects being worked on for 2D animation?
Well, there's
that you know?
there's I wouldn't say big. I think with the streaming platforms coming out now with Netflix and Disney and all that, it's providing well, first of all, content is being completely because of COVID and streaming, content is being rethought completely as far as how it's distributed. And so the ability to see first run movies, you know, on your television now, that's just a thing since COVID started. It forced them to do that. And along with, you know, streaming companies, you know, putting out big budget films. So we're going to see a lot more opportunity, I think, for 2D animation to kind of come back. And a perfect example of that is Klaus. Did you see Klaus?
I did. I saw Klaus. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I see 2D animation now, it's more interesting now than 3D because there's so little of it. It's like a breath of fresh air finally again. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Some hand-drawn stuff. Like, you know, Spider-Man into the Metaverse, like that was cool too. Even though that obviously had a lot of 3D stuff into it, but the final effect of it felt kind of two-dimensional, like the way it was rendered. And like that's nice. I like seeing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So I just think it's actually I'm going to change this foot because I had it going. I got to stop talking while I'm trying to do a key. Yeah, because I'm completely putting feet in the wrong place because I'm talking about something else and not paying attention. But so I think it's really exciting, you know, for because I think it's also providing a lot of opportunity for young filmmakers or people that are just thinking differently outside the box. They're going to have the opportunity to maybe get something made, you know.
I don't understand this question, but maybe you do. Well, you probably want to shut up for a little.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Maybe you do, but I don't get it. When I try to practice, this is from Aligia.
Ali
Aligia Co 94. I don't. Aligia, spelled totally different. When I try to practice animating either by following your videos or by following Richard Williams and Eric Goldberg's books.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to draw the character used in those examples properly. If I animate with dirty, scribbly lines, the scene comes out good and it looks alive. As a beginner interested in animation, should I practice more the character design part or just focus on animating?
Well, it's both. And if you want to be an animator, focus on the animation side of it, and then the character design part of it will come because of through the animation you'll understand what makes a better character. And it's interesting what you're saying about having the scribbly line as opposed to the other characters. You just when you're talking about Eric Goldberg and Richard Williams, you're talking about two of the cleanest animators. That guy, he was even, towards right before he died, he was experimenting with animating at 60 frames a second. So talking about smooth.
What?
Yeah, he was doing crazy stuff.
What?
And it was just incredibly smooth and almost like liquid. It was just incredible. And so yeah, it's a hard standard to compare yourself to.
Oh, I want to see this. Is it? Wait, does YouTube even support 60 frames per second? I think they do, right? Like if I find one of those examples, will I be able to watch it at 60 frames per second on YouTube?
Maybe.
So Richard Williams, 60 frames per second. I don't know what is it. The Thief, The Thief and the Cobbler.
We're not.
Is that the?
Well, Thief and the Cobbler. He may have been Thief and the Cobbler. I know he did. Thief and the Cobbler was Richard Williams' pet project for 30 some odd years.
That would have been before 60 frames
Yeah.
per second, though.
But he was doing all kinds of stuff on ones. Everything was on ones. Everything. It was just.
Do you know? Is there an example? What is? Which of his are 60 frames per second?
Oh, I don't know. I
No.
can't.
I don't know if any of them got released, but it's what he was working on before he died.
Yeah.
I don't know that you can publicly find it.
That's a shame. Okay.
But the point is, so back to the question, yeah, when you draw with a lot, Glenn Keane, who is my mentor, was completely opposite of those guys. He had so much life in his, really threw down a lot of lines. And as long as you're generally hitting it in the right place, you'll have a lot of scribbly lines, but the action will be clear, and so it will have a lot of life to the animation.
Does it kind of kill it once the cleanup comes? Like what is it? The cleaner?
Yeah.
What's the name of the?
It can. Sometimes it can, and so that's the big battle, right? Is to make sure it's like a quickly drawn life drawing. Very often has so much more life to it, obviously, than the finish.
But Glenn Keane wouldn't be the one that would be cleaning it up, right? It'd be someone else comes in. So did he didn't want control of that?
Oh no, he had control of it, and actually
he did.
Yeah, and a lot of times you have a very good relationship with they're called key assistants, and so I had a really close relationship with my key assistant, and Bill Berg was the cleanup assistant for Glenn Keane, and they knew how each other ticked the way they drew.
Okay, gotcha. Makes sense.
Question for both of you: did either of you watch Luca yet? The new Pixar
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
Well, I watched it on Friday when it came out with my son. My son loved it. My son has seen it 4 times already. he just kept watching it, and he's so into it. I feel bad to telling him to turn it off, but he loves it so much.
Oh, that's
and I've
great.
seen it like 2.5 times now. Because it's on.
Yeah, I love the
great
style
movie.
of it. Love the style. I love that they did something different.
With
Just the look.
the look of it.
It doesn't look
Okay.
like a typical Pixar movie.
Wait, is it Pixar?
Yeah.
I thought it was just Disney. It is Pixar?
Yeah, it is Pixar.
Oh,
right?
crap.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, cool.
You had me doubting myself there for a second.
I know. For some reason, I missed the Pixar logo on the intro. I just saw Disney.
You've seen it 2.5 times. You missed it 2.5 times.
Because I don't turn it on. My son knows how to turn stuff on, and I'm like, oh, he turned on Luca again.
My name is Luca.
So you have I live on the second floor. So you have a 4-year-old son, right, Stan?
He's almost 4, yeah.
Yeah, and and Rivers is 4, so he loves it too. Does your son do this thing where he likes to restart movies from the beginning again? Because the beginning's like his favorite part. Like Rivers likes to go back. He's watched Luca, I'd say twice all the way through, but he's rewatched the intro, like the first 15 minutes, like it feels like 20 times.
Right. Yeah, some movies he has favorite parts. Like Moana, he has watched like 100 times now, but not the whole thing. He watches the first like 10 minutes of it, and then he fast forwards to where Maui comes in, and then he goes from there, and then he fast forwards. He skips a few scenes that he just finds are kind of boring, like when the grandma comes back as the what is it?
As a stingray. Yeah.
As a stingray under the boat. He finds that whole conversation boring. He fast forwards it to the part where the fight scene, But yeah, he'll take the movie and it's like an hour and a half, and he'll actually watch like 40 minutes of it because he fast forwards so much.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Now, the one you guys were talking about 2D earlier. The one movie that Rivers has watched, man, probably, and I'm not exaggerating, probably 15 times now, is Wolfwalkers.
Oh yeah.
Which one?
Wolfwalkers. The
Wolf Walkers.
yeah, it's the cartoon saloon movie. It's on Apple Plus. Actually, Aaron worked on it early on.
Yeah,
It's the people that did Song of the Sea and Secret of the Kells, and it's 2D. It's awesome.
Oh, I haven't heard. Where is it streaming?
It's on
Apple
Apple.
TV.
Apple TV. Oh, we don't have Apple TV.
If you have an iPhone or an iPad or anything, it comes with it. So, just
Oh,
Yeah,
so
it's
if I just have an Apple account,
yeah, yep.
I could. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but look, it's definitely worth a watch because
yeah, it's a great
it was nominated for Best Picture or Best Animated Feature.
I like the style of it. The screenshots I'm seeing.
That's
Those
super
look really cool.
It's a little. It might be a little dark for your son because he's just that difference between 3 and 4. Like although
He's almost 4.
Yeah. So I think he'll like it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Aaron, how do you relate your animation to a background or another character when you have to animate within a confined area?
Say that one more time. Sorry.
How do you relate your animation to a background or another character when you have to animate within a confined area?
I have the background there, so I'm actually animating right over the top of the background, and then a lot of times, if there's another character, what we would do is we would take the dominant character of the shot, and that's the person that would animate first, and you would think about you kind of discuss it with the other animator, and you block out where the other character is going to be, but the dominant character is really doing the work, and then the secondary animator comes in and animates to the animation that's already been done, and you literally just put another piece of paper over the drawing that's already been done, and you get the characters to register that way. And sometimes the characters go back and forth. In Beauty and the Beast, going back to that, there's a scene that I animated where Belle and Beast are in front of the fireplace, and she's trying to bandage him as after he's been attacked by the wolves, and they get into this big argument back and forth, and they're both pretty dominant in the shot. So the other animator, Mark Henn, and myself, we literally just passed the animation back and forth to each other as we animated it.
Nice.
So here I'm gonna have the character. I'm gonna lift his head up. Right now it's just a little too smooth back and forth, and so I want to grab. Oh, there it is. I see. I want to grab. Nope, that's the wrong one. Using the wrong tools here. There's a line tool. That's just fill. It's a little different than what I had before. Anyway, I'm just going to move it up. I'm just going to, rather than, I was just going to lasso it and move it. But now I don't have to. Yeah. I'm just going to bring him up here. There we go.
Are there any secrets to getting better with a tablet faster?
Better with a tablet? I have no. I guess it's the same secret as getting better with anything else.
Yeah, right.
Do it a lot.
But faster.
Yeah, but faster.
Yeah. There's no secrets to getting better at this stuff, guys. It's all mileage, practice, hard work, and fun.
Yeah.
Enjoying it. If you hate it, you're probably not going to get that much better.
No.
'Cause you're going to be going uphill the whole time.
Here I'm going to drop the head down a little bit. So I'm just going to redraw these heads.
Have you ever done any animation, Stan?
I started when I was in high school. I thought I was going to be an animator. So I did 4 years of animation in high school, and then I applied to Cal Arts because I wanted to work at Pixar, and I didn't get in. So I went to Watts Atelier, and I switched over to fine art.
Were you doing hand-drawn animation, or were you doing computer animation?
Both. In high school, I was there. They only taught hand drawn back then because that was 2004 when I graduated. What year is Toy Story?
There we go. There's our
Toy Story 1.
Toy Story was 95, I believe.
Yeah, Toy Story was 95.
Yeah. So what was coming out? I know that when I was in high school, I think Monsters Inc. was already coming out at that time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. 3D was at the point where it was like, high school students could do it at that point. It wasn't 95 anymore where only Pixar was doing 3D animation. So at home, I was doing 3D with Maya. And then in school, they were still teaching only hand-drawn. They haven't switched over to 3D at that point yet in high school. And so I was getting experience in both. And I enjoyed both. I think they were both really cool.
Yeah. So here I'm just adjusting some of these in-betweens to get that head right.
Someone's asking, I don't know what this means, but did Disney sabotage my favorite movie, Treasure Planet? What does that mean? Is there some kind of
sabotage what?
Treasure Planet. Is there some kind of like controversy going on?
I don't think so. Ron Clements and John Musker, that was their pet project. They've been wanting to make that for years and years. They're the most prolific directors at Disney, and so they really had earned the right to make Treasure Planet. And they had done at that point. They had done The Great Mouse Detective. Then they did the Little Mermaid. Then they did Aladdin. And so by the time they got to Treasure Planet, they were like, "Okay, you can make Treasure Planet." They've been wanting to make it for years and years.
Mm-hmm. So why does Dennis is asking? Why does Dennis think that they sabotaged it?
That I don't know. That part I don't understand.
Well, it's not a big hit, and it's not it's not a big hit. It's not a big widely known film. So I think there's a misconception out there that somehow it was like not marketed properly, and it only But
okay.
I think it was just. I think it goes back to what Aaron and you were talking about at the beginning. I think it fell in that gap of where 2D was going out of style. I mean, in fact, one of the hooks of that movie, right, is the Long John Silver is half CG, half.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's a hook for an audience member.
But I mean, it was part of the marketing buzz.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, we're combining 2D and computer animation.
Yeah, I personally think it was more of a boy movie. That's my personal thought on it.
You think that's why it didn't do as well?
Yeah, I think they cut their audience a little bit.
So you're saying boys will go see a girls movie, but girls won't go see a boys movie generally? Is that kind of the
not necessarily. I just think I think if you for the general audience in that case, I think it just skewed more boy stuff.
It just didn't appeal to young girls.
I don't. I could be wrong because I'm sure there's a girl out there listening right now, going, no, that's not right. I love that movie, and I'm sure there is. I just don't think it had the wide appeal as some of the other ones.
John and Ron did Moana as well, right? They directed 9 movies of Disney, right?
Oh yeah, they've done a ton.
Way more than anybody else, I believe.
There we go. So let's bring this down here. Oh, there we go. That's the change.
Dennis also asks, how would I go about having my 2D character interact with a 3D prop or character in animation?
Well, you can do it a couple of different ways. The way we did it was the 2D was done first, and the 3D was done over the top of the 2D. And so if you have a character interacting with a 3D character, we would sketch the 3D, and then the 3D animation was done afterwards. Now, if you're having a 3D dominant character, then I'm not sure.
Well, there was times when you did the other way around, right? Like the moose horns were.
Yeah, but that was sketched in, and then we had it. They went in with the 3D to match it.
Did they draw over the 3D again?
No.
They didn't.
No. Oh yeah. They did. So it was roughed in, 3D laid it in, and then when they did cleanup, then the cleanup went over the 3D. So during rough animation, they were roughed in by hand. There we go. So I want to get a nice little wobble in the head as he's walking. That's what I'm trying to get right now. And right now it's just a little too stiff back and forth, so I want to make sure we're getting a nice little S curve in the action. Let's see if that helped.
Dan says, as there is a comeback for 2D and streaming services are becoming the new normal, do you think some more surreal animation, like another sequel to Fantasia, will be possible?
I think it's possible. It's just, I don't know that, like doing something to Fantasia, there's no financial benefit to it. I don't think anyone's going to go see it to make up for the money that they would be spending to get it out there and market it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fantasia 2000 didn't make money, did it?
No.
Well, he's talking about streaming services, so.
But still, I mean, they still want to get some kind of, the whole reason you have it on there is to draw people. It's to draw people in. I just don't know that it would be much of a draw. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep that head really simple. I've got it going in one circle, almost like a little bit of a limp. But I kind of like it. I like that little move to his head, that circular motion. It's a little bit outside of what the animation or the actual physics would be, but I'm going to keep that. I like it.
What was the appeal of Fantasia initially? Is it just because it was something completely new and like some nobody's ever seen this before, and so everybody?
Well, the original Fantasia was all about Walt, experimenting with new technology.
Right. Yeah, it's all new stuff. Nobody's ever seen this, but now it's like, well, that's not new. So it's
exactly.
Like,
so it kind of goes outside. I don't know that idea.
Right.
That was it. Fantasia. That was the first stereo.
Yes.
Stereo film.
First stereo sound. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Snow White was the first color movie.
So was Fantasia 2000 experimenting with new technologies, or was it just trying to be like the original Fantasia?
I'm trying to remember because I know CG. What year was Fantasia 2000? Oh,
was it not 2000?
It was 2000, but I'm sorry. I'm thinking about when we were making it. That's what because we were making it for like 4 or 5 years. And I'm trying to remember when we started it. Sorry, because I'm trying to remember if that was because there's a lot of CG stuff in there, and I'm trying to remember what was experimental, because I know they were trying to do experimental stuff.
Well, I think some of the Noah's Ark stuff with Donald, there's some CG stuff in there, right?
Yeah.
And then didn't they?
Well, the whales were CG.
And they bought that animation studio in France just to do that Firebird sequence, right?
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, the Britzy brothers are incredible. Yeah, it's funny. We were sitting around one time at my house drinking a bunch of wine, way more than we should have, and I was trying to remember. We used to live on this chain of lakes, and I had an old buddy of mine visiting, and we were trying to remember all the names to all the lakes, and I couldn't remember the last one, and and I said, but there was this lodge that was on the lake. And so my friend, his name is Zsolt. He's Hungarian. I said, Zsolt, what's the name of
Zsolt
that?
and Blaise?
Yeah,
That's great.
know,
What a duo.
I said, Zsolt, what's the name of that lake that Lake Susan Lodge is on? And he's like, are you kidding me? And I said, no. I said, what's the name of that lake Susan Lodge is on? And we went back and forth quite a bit before I realized what I was asking.
Is it Lake Susan?
Yeah, it's Lake Susan. Oh, poor Stan.
I figured it out. I'm so smart.
Hey, look, it's thinking.
I need a break, man.
I'm almost done.
How much of your local environment is a source of inspiration for your art? As another person, wait, that's just the first sentence.
Oh, gotcha.
As another person who lives in the South and near the coast, I was curious what kind of inspiration you've drawn from that environment too.
Tons. So, especially where I just moved, I got into a new place. So Stan remembers my old place, but we're in a new place now with even more nature, and I've got a matter of fact, I don't know if can I pull this up?
Oh, it's funny. Your studio layout looks exactly the same as before. You have a door right behind you.
Yeah, I know. But we got this great shot of a deer in the backyard yesterday. I'm going to do a painting of. I was going to pull that up, but I can't find it right now. But yeah, it's the same kind of setup. But the studio, my office now is 4 times the size of my old office.
Oh, cool.
So we've got oil painting set up, acrylic, watercolor station. We've got a digital down shooter set up. I've got my traditional animation desk set up. My Cintiq.
Are you using a webcam? Can you show it, or?
Actually, yeah, we could.
You just like pick it up, and I'm curious.
Yeah. Here.
The Blaise Studio Tour.
I don't know where it's attached.
Oh, well, your hand is okay. There you go.
Here, I'll let Nick show you.
Yeah.
So this is the. I don't think it's gonna work.
There you go. You got some. There you go.
So this is the Cintiq station.
Nice.
Right over here.
Hi.
Okay. He's got the monitor at the top. Cool. Oh wow. Okay, so you're in the middle of the room. You're not against the wall.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
So there's that.
There's the skull station.
Yeah, that's the part we already saw.
Yep. The Disney.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay, so you got.
There's the Disney desk.
The Disney desk is here. Sorry,
That's
I'm limited by the length of the cord. I can't.
right. So this is the 2D animation desk, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And on the other side. Okay.
Over in that back corner is that's like a stop motion station we set up for a down shooter.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
for when I'm doing hand drawn animation at the Disney desk. I can just shoot it.
And then over here is a.
That's my watercolor or water based setup. So I do watercolor and acrylics over there. Yeah, that's my easel for my oil painting. All my tapestry and things like that. That's all pulled out of here just for room.
Nice.
But,
And then the other that other corner behind you on your right, Aaron, that's Nick's desk.
Yes, so that's Nick,
It's usually
Nick and Dustin.
Okay, cool. And it's very okay. There you go. It's autofocus. Cool.
Yeah. Am I set up?
Nice.
Good.
Yeah, it looks exactly like before.
Ooh.
Nice. Thanks for showing.
But I was watching. There's a space. I don't know if you can see it out through the window. I don't know if it's blown out on there.
No, you can see it.
So out through the windows there's a big porch, and you can see kind of a screened enclosure out there. That's all going to get enclosed probably by next year, and that's going to be more studio. We're going to expand into that space.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's going to add about 1,000, well, probably about 800 square feet.
What are you gonna use the extra space for?
I just want to have more space for shooting, doing bigger projects. Basically,
Okay.
the same kind of thing. Like when I was watching your video on your dream studio, and it's basically I want
Yeah.
a dream studio.
Nice. You just need more space to walk around
Yeah,
between all the desks.
but I want to do big,
Yeah.
bigger projects, and obviously it's hard to do that when you don't have
Yeah.
when you don't have a big enough space. Already, just being in this space here, the size of the projects that I'm doing has really increased, just because I can, and I really enjoyed, I like painting big.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. We can see them moving along. Now we're getting down to twos.
Down to twos.
Down to twos.
Actually, somebody asked something recently about that.
Yeah, twos means it's one drawing every 2 frames.
Yeah. There was a specific question. I think it was just like, what's the best, drawing on ones, twos, or threes?
Oh yeah, ones is if you can get it.
That's the best.
Yeah, because that's
Just 'cause
that's gonna be the
smoother, or-
smoothest.
Yeah. Is that best? Smoother is better.
Well, it depends on not necessarily. I mean, generally it is.
When
But
is
you,
it not?
But you might, let's say you have you're doing like a really cartoony scare, and you can do staggered drawings and things like
okay.
that. So there's always something that breaks the rule.
Right. Yeah. It's like composition. where
Yeah.
You can go with a balanced composition, but sometimes you want it to be unbalanced
Right.
to give
For whatever
an
effect
emotion. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
I'm gonna whip through these. How are we doing on time? How are you doing on time?
Me?
Yeah,
I'm good.
good. That's
Yeah.
great.
We're about an hour and 19, 20 minutes in. How long do you usually stream for?
A couple hours.
Yeah. Yeah, same here.
Usually to do something like this, it's a couple hours. I haven't animated in, geez, it feels like a long time. I'll tell you what though, it's been nice getting back to some traditional work. I can't remember the last time I did a figurative oil painting.
The one behind you was the first one.
Oh, the first one in years.
Nice.
Years
That's
and
cool.
years and years.
How do you stay passionate about animating? I've been at this for some years, and a lot of times I just feel like it's a desk job. Ooh.
Sometimes
Well.
it is. Especially
Yeah.
when you're working for another studio.
And a desk,
I've
and a
remained
desk.
passionate about it because I'm working on my own too, and I'm working on my own project.
But you worked at Disney for that was the
Yeah, and I
long
love,
time
I
ago.
really did love all the projects that we worked on.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And
Yeah.
we just, I happen to get lucky that way. But we've had other projects in the past. I've had other jobs in the past where it wasn't the greatest, but you find, I've done my share of dog and cat food commercials and things like that.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, okay, I want to see how well I can animate this dog eating a bowl of food. You just give yourself little goals, to make it a little more enjoyable. Plus, the paycheck at the end helps.
Well, that's the desk job part of it, though, if it's about the
Exactly.
paycheck. But I feel like a lot of enjoying it is about how much freedom do you have to be creative? Because a lot of us, I think most of us, get into it for the freedom of being creative and just drawing what we want. And if you take that part away from drawing, it's no longer fun.
Right.
It becomes a desk job. And so if you are animating purely someone else's vision, someone else's character, someone else's storyboard, someone else's story, whatever, you just there in betweening. Yeah, it might be boring, right? I don't know. Have you ever been an in-betweener?
Oh, I was an assistant, but I did my share of in-betweens for sure. And yeah, it's a grueling
Was that boring?
job.
Did you enjoy that?
No, I hate doing
No?
in-betweens.
Okay.
I hate doing in-betweens
Yeah.
now when I do animation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because you don't have the creativity, right? You're just kind of
Well, you're just
going
on
and doing.
autopilot. Yeah, you're just on
Yeah.
autopilot, and you just go.
Yeah. It's like you're crunching numbers.
But that's where you can animate the music, right? Because you've already worked the timing out.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're doing the in-betweens, you just kind of...
Yeah, I just crank the music and go.
Yeah. But yeah, my advice to you in the Aquino, is, you know, if you do have a job that you're doing this for, and you want to bring that passion back, have some of your own projects on the side as well, where you actually
Absolutely.
have creative control over them and just do your own stuff. And maybe that'll also bring back a little bit of enjoyment in your job, animation job as well.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started at Disney, I really still wanted to be a painter, and so one of the things I think that kept me sane was I pursued that. Now I had to be really disciplined in how I did it, and so I had a schedule that I would keep, and so I would I'd do my day job with Disney. I'd get home about 7 o'clock, and then play with the kids, get the kids to bed, and then by 9 o'clock I was at my easel, and I would paint until about midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, and then and I did that 5 days a week. I made sure to keep the weekends, and I was able to get enough paintings done that I was able to get into some galleries and at least have a little bit of a career doing that for a while. And so it's just a matter of putting your passion where you want it to be and finding a way to do it, whether it's scheduling or whatever.
Kahenya asks, you were talking about or I guess, I don't know if it's a question. You were talking about the effect of COVID on the animation industry, and I don't know if you know this, but during the Annecy Festival, I don't know.
Yeah, Annecy.
Disney revealed lots of African collaborations coming up next year, and as a Kenyan, it's so nice to see the industry finally recognizing us. None of this would be possible before the pandemic. What are your thoughts on African representation in animation, and why weren't there Africans in Tarzan? Yeah.
I don't know. As far as the Tarzan part goes, I didn't work on that movie. Well, actually, in the original story, I know the Native Africans were not portrayed very well. They were portrayed really badly, and so I'm sure Disney wanted to separate themselves from that. But as far as I think the whole industry is becoming so much more international as far as representing other cultures' stories. Every culture has a voice and a story to tell. And so, even Luca, we were talking about Luca, and that's it's not set in the United States, that's for sure. And so I'm just loving the fact that the studios are getting out and because of, like you said, because of COVID, we're able to do this stuff from our desks at home, and so many of my buddies and ex-colleagues and that sort of thing are still working from home, but the animated films they're working on never even took a hit because they're able just to switch it all over to their home desks.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm enjoying all the different cultural animations coming out now. I mean, like Moana was huge in my family. I mean, my wife is Filipino, and the Pacific Islands and stuff, and that was fun. But yeah, it gets some flavor.
Exactly.
Get more variety in there. It's a little boring.
And from all the different, we've got several or quite a few followers from several countries in Africa, and Kenya is a big one for us, and so that's one of the things I love about what we do is being able to these live streams. They're international. They go everywhere, and so the people that we're able to meet around the world when we do our talks, post COVID, that part I really enjoy.
You mean like at conventions or
Yeah,
where do
conventions
you?
or you know, I did workshops before COVID. We did a month long tour in Europe, and
Okay.
so we did we did some talking with Bobby Chu in London. Then we did some lectures up in Leeds, in central England, and then we went over to Ireland and talked at the studio over there, Cartoon Saloon. Actually, the studio that did Wolfwalkers.
Yeah.
Did some lectures there, and then we went over to Denmark and I gave a lecture at the animation workshop. Then we went down to Spain and did some workshops down in Spain for like 8 days, and it was just really super cool. And what's neat about it all is that they all knew us because of this job that we do. It was neat to meet people that international that know who we are, and it's I don't know, I love it.
Yeah. But how many times have you been to Africa now? On your
3.
3?
So yeah, in
How-
September it'll be 4.
Are you doing so in September? Are you going there for another like safari animal thing, or are
Yes.
you also meeting people and?
It's going to be another safari thing. Now, the last time we were there, it turned out there were some students there that ended up meeting with Peter, right? Peter Hunt. Yeah, and so if we could do something like that again, or if we can, it wouldn't be again for us. It would if we can do something like that. I'd love to do that.
Mhm. Cool.
Hey, Stan, are you going? Speaking of travel, I know things probably got rescheduled. You were going to the Olympics. Are you going now, or?
Oh, you talking about Japan?
Yeah.
I was planning on. Well, I
Yeah,
wasn't
not
gonna
as
go
a
to the
not as a
Olympics.
participant. I didn't mean as a
Olympic, yeah. professional what?
curling. It'd have to be curling, right?
Curling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't get
No, no, I was gonna go to Japan right before the Olympic. I wasn't gonna attend the.
Oh, I thought you were going during the.
No, I wasn't gonna do the Olympics. I was gonna go right before. But yeah, that obviously got canceled.
Have you have you rescheduled? Are you going this year? Or have you?
No, we're going to Florida and Hawaii instead.
Nice. Domestic.
Yeah. We're not yet. We're not planning any international traveling yet. We definitely will, but I don't know. We just haven't started thinking about that yet.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed not traveling because we were traveling a lot, and so for the first part of COVID, it's like, oh, this is nice. We're not having to do get out and hoof it. I'm so ready to get out and hoof it now. So ready to get out of here and do some travel.
I'd love to get you to Africa with us, Stan. You'd have such a great time.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I would love it.
We'll try to see if we can finagle a. It's all other artists that we go with, so you would absolutely have a blast. Maybe we can finagle something.
Yeah. Finagle.
Island Dryland. What?
What's that?
Island Dryland asks, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Chuck as much wood as a woodchuck could.
If a woodchuck could chuck
chuck
wood,
wood.
it would chuck as much wood as it could. That's come on, Island Dryland. What is this? What kind of question?
So I've got one drawing that's being held on 4s, so you see a little blip in there. But you can see I've got the head moving in a nice smooth circle, but it's really only moving for one stride, even though I've got 2 strides in there. So it gives him kind of this kind of old man funky little gimp that I kind of like.
Oh, yeah, he has a little bob.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, there's a little bob there. Little bob. So here,
People are saying that a Kenya meetup is for sure in order. We should definitely try to plan something like that when we're in Nairobi.
oh, that'd be great. Are those from Kenyans?
No. Yes, of course. Of course it's from.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was someone saying they would go to Kenya,
Oh,
or
well,
is it somebody that was.
you know what? You might be
living-
right. You
living
might
in
be right.
Kenya.
I could be an assumption on my part. What do I know? What do I
Visteco says, drawing something or someone can be the result of the ambient. I mean, music, even our feelings can affect the art. Can we draw a happy scene even if we're sad? What do you do in those moments?
Well, it definitely affects you.
Yeah. It's about acting, though, right? I mean, you kind of have.
Yeah.
That's what.
For me, you know, especially when I was talking earlier about putting yourself in a shot. You know, I've had stuff that it's just emotionally draining to do, and when I feel like that, you know, sometimes I just got to walk away. I've had instances where I just emotionally couldn't do it.
Just related to emotions, you've told a story before. I don't know if you told it on a live stream or not, so it might be interesting about when you first saw Mark Henn's drawings for Simba with Mufasa. That it just
Oh
even
yeah.
in the rough drawings, people were.
Oh yeah, when the scene where Simba's trying to wake up his father, and he's got run over by the stampede. I mean, we were all choked up just looking at the rough drawings, and we knew there it was going to be so rough on the audience. And
Like the worst scene ever made.
Oh well, James Earl Jones, the voice of Mufasa, he came in to the studio, and Mark and I took him around, gave him a tour, and we took him back to editorial, and Mark had just finished animating that scene, and so we took him back. He had recorded it, but he had never seen the animation, and it was he and his wife, and so we played it for him, and then we brought the lights up, and he and his wife just had tears just streaming down their faces. It was pretty cool. It made Darth Vader cry.
Oh no. Yeah, my wife was telling me how she was like a little kid at that. Let's see, what year was that? 97, 98? No, 94? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Okay. 94, my wife was like 8. So she was your demographic, right? It was made for her. And when she saw that, it was like the first time she's ever seen a movie where it just like did that to her.
Just devastated.
She felt betrayed. She's like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? No, you can't do that."
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like the worst. It haunts her. That scene haunts her.
So I'm just shrinking this up just a little bit because the number of my screen is super high def, and I always end up with a little pause in here. I'm getting a neat little walk. I like actually that little head bob doesn't bother me. I like having that in there. I actually might give him a little more weight and throw a couple more in betweens right where he places his foot, just so it slows him down a little bit.
That's funny. Okay, Animal asks,
Hey, Animal.
Where should someone start to study animal anatomy? I've been drawing for years now. I'm 16, but I'm still having problems with anatomy. I'd love some advice.
Sorry, we don't mean to laugh at you, but
we're not laughing at you.
But we
Animal.
are laughing at you.
We kind of. I mean, you're 16 and you're still having problems with anatomy. Of course you're having problems with anatomy, man.
You're 16.
I'm 30. I'm 35 and I'm still having problems. And I teach anatomy and I'm still having problems with anatomy.
I'm 53 and I'm still having problems with anatomy.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing problem. You will always have problems with anatomy.
Yeah. It's it's a very, very complex topic. It's not a beginner thing. It's going to be something you're going to be studying for decades.
As they say here in the South, oh, bless your heart.
Yeah, it's great.
No, it's
you,
just, anatomy, human anatomy, animal anatomy, whatever anatomy, it's so complex. there's a lot to it, and you'll learn little shortcuts here and there and tricks and whatnot. But it's a lifetime of study. Yes, for years you will be studying
that. Do you have any tips on how to take care of your hands or wrists, and the rest of your body so that you don't have repetitive strain injuries?
I make sure to I draw in a certain position, up high, and so I try to draw from the shoulder as much as I can. I draw from my wrist a little bit, but I've never had any kind of carpal tunnel issues or anything like that.
You don't grip your pencil really tight, right? You
no, I don't.
And just, yeah.
And when I paint, I tend to, hold my paintbrush at the end and kind of paint like that. And so here we go. That's one. I don't tend to have that. But it's funny. I see it's young people. I never knew anybody when I was at Disney, especially in the old days. I never knew anybody that had carpal tunnel issues ever. And it wasn't until the digital age that I started seeing young people. I knew one guy that he had so many operations. He was only like 20 years old. He was an incredible digital artist. He had never done anything but digital painting. And I guess it's just from...
You mean tradition? He hasn't done anything with traditional, or?
All he did was... Yeah, maybe I said it wrong. All he had ever done was digital.
Okay.
He had never done any traditional stuff. Mm. And so... and he had all these carpal tunnel problems. And I don't know if it's the position of sitting with I don't know. I don't know if it's, I don't know what the deal is. But I never really knew of anybody having carpal tunnel until later in my career.
Well, I don't think carpal tunnel was really even identified as a condition until the late 80s, early 90s that I ever remember hearing of it.
That could be too, yeah.
But, it's probably one of those things where people just call it, oh man, my wrist hurts.
Yeah.
Not realizing what it was.
Well, I mean, I think the main thing for artists, for hands and wrists is just don't use them too much. Yeah. Like relax your hand and your wrist. Don't make sure you're just not flexing it though for hours. You shouldn't be drawing from your hand and your wrist unless you're doing little details or something. But most of the time, you'll probably be using your elbow and your shoulder, and that you could,
yeah,
you can go on all day without any issues.
I purposely have my Cintiq sitting up pretty high at a high angle.
Yeah, drink lots of water.
I don't know if we crashed it, but the TV Paint website is down.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, there's people trying to go check out the software.
Oh, remember when we were doing something with it earlier, it said it was down too, right?
Wait, Animate TV website? Is that what you said?
TV Paint.
TV Paint.
Oh, TV Paint.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably because you promoted it.
Yeah. It's our incredible influence.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm adding it's going to soften I put two in-betweens in. It's going to soften in two spots in the cycle, but I think it's going to...
Someone wrote, don't draw with your wrist, draw with your heart.
Hold on.
Yeah, you take your heart out and just start drawing with it.
There, just soften those steps a little bit on those front feet. There's our little bear walking in 3/4, kind of 3/4. Trying to get those shoulder blades working, pushing up and down. The hip movements. Nice. Now something like this, I would go through and tie the whole thing down. Well, actually, before I would even break it down as much as I did, I'd go through and tie it down quite a bit.
I just realized Stan can't see what you've been drawing this whole time, can he?
I'm watching the actual stream muted,
okay.
but it's like 30 seconds delayed, so I never know what he's actually.
Oh, gotcha.
I didn't even think about that. We weren't sharing the
Yeah.
Zoom screen with you. That's funny.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Sorry, it's been a day. Sound issues, stream sharing, internet going down.
There we go. It's going to make it a little small for those watching on a phone, but
What? Oh, I still don't know what you. Oh, there you go. Now I can see you're resizing it.
yeah, I just resized it because it was going a little slow.
Yeah, I noticed he's slowing down like all. You have 17 or 18 frames there total now?
18
how many?
drawings.
18 drawings in 100 minutes.
There you go.
What is that? 100 minutes divided by 18. That's every 5.5 minutes you did a new drawing.
There you go. And it has to make sense. It's got to fit in the sequence.
Yeah, yeah. Did you go back and redo previous frames?
Yeah, I
you
did. I
just-
hit a couple of. Yeah, I changed a couple of things. This is a kind of a clunky walk, but it's kind of fun. I wanted to have it feel have a little character to it, but hey, what the heck?
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. You got
Nice,
any more
man.
questions?
That's cool. Let me see. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you.
No, Aaron, can you ask a question?
Can I?
Any
You,
questions
Aaron.
for Stan?
You got any questions for me, Aaron?
Hey, I got a check here from Proko.
You got a check? What is it, for $5?
That's funny.
What are some fundamental exercises for an absolute beginner animator to do?
Oh, just
Arcs, right? Get your arcs
arcs.
down.
yeah. Everyone talks about exercises. To me, it's just animating. Get in there and animate. Create. You know, it's all about acting, and you know, it's going to take time. But get in there and create shots where characters have to emote, or characters interacting with one another. You know, so often people want to animate like this. They'll sit down and go, okay, I want to animate a walk cycle. And that's great. And it's nice to see something moving across the screen. But if you really want to be push your animation skills, then, you know, animation's the art of bringing things to life. It's not the art of moving things. So you want to really dive in and get characters to, you know, a character that's thinking. When you can see a character that's thinking, then that character is alive. And you get characters thinking by creating emotional shots. And that's something that, you know, Ollie Johnston, one of the 9 Old Men, he would tell Glenn, he'd say, Glenn Keane, you know, when Glenn was learning animation, he'd say, you know, don't animate what the character's doing, animate what the character's thinking. And the doing will come out of that. And I thought that was kind of neat. And so, you know, that covers emotion and all that kind of stuff. And when you get that emotion in there, you know, when you're thinking about what a character is feeling and thinking, then it really builds up the performance quite a bit. So there you go.
Yeah, I got a question for Stan. Some of the people that are watching our thing might not be familiar with your new website. Do you want to talk about what you guys just launched? It's been a couple weeks ago now.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we just launched the new Proko.com. Basically, it's like a social school now where there's a lot of community stuff in there. We're very focused on community and feedback parts of it. And so we've been collaborating with a lot of artists to do something every day. We're launching a lot of new courses, have a lot of live streams, lots of new videos coming out all the time. And so, yeah, if you guys want to learn to draw and paint and do concept art and any of that stuff, go to Proko.com and check it out.
Yeah, and Aaron's got a site, or Aaron's got a course on there with you guys.
That's
We're
right.
planning on adding a couple more in the future, which would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Aaron, we did film with Aaron, a lion demo. So if you go to Proko.com and then you go to browse courses, you'll see a big lion there. That's Aaron's charcoal drawing of a lion, and
just a lion.
yeah,
Yeah.
and today only we're putting it on 25% off. You have to use discount code Blaise25, Blaise 25. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
site's super cool, man. I've checked it out a lot.
Yeah.
You did a great job with it. You should be proud of it.
Thank you. Well, we've been working on it for 4 years, literally. Like
Holy
4
smokes.
years of full. This is full-time development. About 5 developers, 40 hours a week, full-time, nonstop for 4 years. It's been it's kind of crazy.
Wow.
That it took that long. Yeah, it's a very big.
It's
project.
like making an animated movie.
Yeah. Well, not with 5
Guys.
people, but
time-wise.
Time-wise, yeah, that's true. Time-wise, but yeah, like and we have events every day now. Tomorrow, Scott Flanders is doing an AMA. Wednesday, we got Dom Lay live stream. Thursday, Marco Bucci's live streaming.
Wow.
Friday and Thursday, we got Scott Flanders' video. Tiffany Mang is coming out with a video. So that's all this week. So we got a lot of stuff.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah,
Super cool.
super cool.
Well, you want to call it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Stan?
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Aaron.
It was a lot of fun. Aside from our sound issues in the beginning, everything seemed to work out.
And
okay.
the lives, the modem issues.
Our internet issues, which we tend to have more of here in Florida than anyone else I ever see. It's our well, we don't have them too bad today, but our summer storms have really kicked into high gear the last few days.
Nice.
So, but here's a bear animating in 3/4. It was kind of fun. I really enjoyed doing that for you guys, and I hope you learned something. TV Paint is a really great piece of software. I've been using, like I said, for me, it's the closest to animating on paper, but animating digitally. And actually, I'm surprised I didn't get this question. I get it a lot. People ask me, do I prefer animating digitally as opposed to animating traditionally on paper? And you know what? And I can honestly say this. I'm not saying it just because of our relationship with TV Paint. TV Paint has made it to where I prefer animating digitally because I can get to the finished product quicker. It just makes the whole production aspect of it so much easier than animating on paper.
What is it about it that's better than the other animation programs?
To be honest with you, I'm not quite sure because it's the only one I've used. And,
Okay.
No, seriously. But it's the only one I've used because of once I sat down and started using it, I felt it was super easy for me to learn. And I literally, like a week earlier, I had been animating on paper. I'd done this big project. It was a commercial for this company in England and the commercial is called The Bear and the Hare. And I actually did, and it's on YouTube. Look it up. Or on Vimeo. It's on Vimeo.
On YouTube.
They put it back up because they took it down at one time. But look it up, The Bear and the Hare commercial. And I had done all of that on paper, and the other guys working on it, they work digitally. And so I started talking to them, and they said, "Yeah, you know what? You would." They were using a couple of different pieces of software, and the one guy said, "You know what? Just knowing they were ex-Disney guys, and they said knowing you'd like TV Paint." And so I got TV Paint that weekend, right after we finished the project, and they were right. I just fell in love with it, and it was it felt like I was still working on paper. So I've never tried anything else.
I would say, Stan, for the biggest difference is, or one of the big differences is TV Paint's bitmap based, where a lot of your other animation software is vector based. So
Wait, it's what based?
it's bitmap based. It's
Oh, it's bitmap based.
It's more like
Okay.
drawing in Photoshop or something, whereas drawing in like a lot of your other animation software out there is vector animation.
Okay.
So
Right.
it's the same as like Illustrator versus Photoshop, right? One's
Right.
more like traditional drawing and painting. So
Okay. Cool.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Aaron.
Thank you, man.
This was fun.
It was awesome. And
Yeah.
let's do it again.
Yeah, and I'll probably see you in Florida soon.
Oh yeah,
when are you gonna be here?
Are you guys coming to Disney? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm taking my kids to Disney World.
But we're now 30 minutes from Disney. We're closer than we were before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you definitely got to come by.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
come visit us.
I'll call you. I'll call you.
Yeah, sure.
I'll just
You
show
won't.
up. Yeah, I will. My son wants to see Santa Claus again.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Right
Oh,
on.
you Santa.
I'm hoping I'm
Santa!
Well, you know, after you guys were here last time, Rivers was asking about them, so they'll have to get them together so they can play again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, right
well,
on,
thanks,
you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. And it was a great time. And I want to do this more often. So once a year doesn't cut it. We got to do it a little more than that. So
cool.
Anyway.
Cool. All right.
Thanks for watching,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.